See here, in the previous class, we clearly discussed about different programming approaches, and also we discussed about OOPS concepts. We discussed about OOPS concepts. In the OOPS concepts, we clearly discussed about what is class. Okay, now see, so what are the different programming approaches out there? Four styles are there. Four styles are there to write the program. Four styles are there. What are those? First one is sequential approach. Second one is procedure oriented. Third one is object based, and fourth one is object oriented. So here, so what are these four? These four are the styles. Sequential program means we are writing the code sequentially. Sequential program means we are writing the code sequentially. If we are writing the code sequentially, mainly two drawbacks are there. If large amounts of code is there, it becomes difficult to understand the code. So that is lack of understandability. And second drawback is it increases length of code. If you want to perform the same task again and again, we have to write the same code again and again. If you want to perform the same task again and again, we have to write the same code again and again. So automatically code length will be increased. So to avoid those drawbacks, they introduced a procedure oriented approach. In this procedure oriented program, we write the program in the form of parts. So like this, function 1, function 2, function 3, we are dividing the procedure oriented program in the form of parts. So here, what is the advantage here? It improves understandability and it decreases the length of code. But here also two drawbacks are there. Those are, it does not provide security for the data and less reusability of code is there. So to avoid those drawbacks, they introduced the object oriented approach. They introduced object oriented approach. In the object oriented approach, we write the program in the form of classes and objects, and we can also establish relationship between the classes. So here, this is class 1, this is class 2. Class is the collection of members, where members are properties and methods. Members means properties and methods. So here we are defining properties and methods in the class 1, and in the class 2 also we are defining some properties and methods, and we can also establish relationship between them, that is called inheritance. So this is object oriented style. So if a language that supports to encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism, that is object oriented programming language. If a language that supports to encapsulation, abstraction, but does not support to the inheritance and polymorphism, that is called object based. So object based means we write the program in the form of classes or structures and objects. So here we are placing the members in the class or structure, but we cannot establish relationship between the classes because it does not support to inheritance. So we cannot establish relationship between the clauses. So these things we discussed in the previous class. So four styles are there. We are writing sequentially, we are writing in the form of functions, we are placing the members in one particular container, we are calling that as class or structure. Here also we are placing members in one particular container, but we can establish relationship between them. And next we discussed about OOPS concepts. So here OOPS stands for object oriented programming system. OOPS stands for object oriented programming system. So these OOPS concepts are introduced in late 1970s. These are introduced by MIT. MIT stands for Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Massachusetts Institute of Technology. That is one private university, private research university, which is in US. So in the late 1950s, they introduced these OOPS concepts. So based on those OOPS concepts, first they developed a language. They have given the language name as Simula 67. In the 1960s, they introduced this language. Okay, later in the 1980s, C++ language was introduced. This C++ is the first famous object-oriented programming language. Then what are the OOPS concepts? Here OOPS concepts are what? Mainly four concepts are there. Okay, what are the OOPS concepts? Only four concepts are there. What are those? First one is encapsulation, second one is abstraction, third one is inheritance, and fourth one is polymorphism. So here only four concepts are there. Those are encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism. To achieve these four concepts, for all these four concepts, we use two common concepts. Those are what? Class and object. So these are the OOPS concepts. Okay. Now listen carefully here. Once again, I am explaining about what is class. After that, I will explain these remaining concepts in today's session. Listen carefully. So here what is class? Class means this class is a user defined data type. Class is a user defined data type. If we want to create our own data type, we can create our own data type. Those are called user defined data types. For example, here in the previous class I explained rule number 10. This 10 is what? Integer value. To hold this integer value, I'm taking a variable here, rule number. I want to declare that one. So to declare that, I'm using one data type here. That is what? Int. Int is the data type. So C language developers created a plan to declare the integer variables. So here, this is number without decimal place. This is integer. To hold this integer variable, to hold this integer value, we are taking integer variable here. To declare this integer variable, they C language developers created a plan that is int. Similarly, to declare the float variables, they made a plan that is float. To declare the character variable, they made a plan that is char. Like that, if we want to create our own data types like customer data type, student data type, product data type, employee data type, like this, if we want to create our own data types, we can use the concept class. Then what is this class actually? What is the purpose of it? Generally, this class is nothing but it is a plan. This class is a plan to create the object. So here, what is the object? What is the general meaning of object? Generally, object means anything which is physically existed. Anything which is physically existed is called object. Anything which is not physically existed is not called an object. For example, I'm taking laptop. Laptop is physically existed. Okay, keyboard physically existed. Table physically existed. Marker physically existed. Pen physically existed. What are these? These are the objects. These are the objects. For example, thoughts. Thoughts are not physically existed. Imagination is not physically existed. Concepts, plans, these are not physically existed. So anything which is physically existed, we are calling that as object. Anything which is not physically existed is not called an object. Okay, so now you understood what is object. So for any object, some properties are there, and as well as that can be used to perform particular actions. Okay, in the previous class I have taken the example like smartphone example I have taken. See here. So smartphone, see, for the smartphone, for any smartphone, some common properties are there. So which company smartphone that one? Okay, which model smartphone? What is the price of it? What are these? These are the properties. These are called what? Properties. Okay, then what we are doing with the smartphone? Okay, we can do the calls. Calling is the action. We can do video calls. Video calling is the action. Okay, we can browse on internet. Browsing is the action. We can do charting. Charting is the action. So these are what? These are the actions. Okay, so please be in mute mode. See here, these are the actions. So company, model, price, these are what? These are the properties. So calling, video calling, browsing, charting, what are these? These are the actions. Okay, so for any object, some properties will be there, as well as that can be used to perform particular actions. Okay, so those actions are called methods. Yes, those actions are called methods. Okay, so here properties, see the terminology. Listen, now I'm explaining the terminology. Listen carefully. Okay, see here. So yesterday I explained about this one. So class is more, class means what? Class means class is a plan to create the object. So for any object, some properties will be there, as well as behavior will be there. I want to construct customer objects. I want to construct customer objects of one bank. I want to create customer objects of an bank. Okay, so this is customer one. Customer one account number is 123. Customer name is Raju. His account balance is 1 lakh. Like that, customer two is there. Customer two's account number is sorry. I have taken same account number. I assume that this is 1 to 4. Okay, just I copied that one. So same data is there. So take different data here. Okay, so C1 is customer one, customer two. Okay, so two different people are there, two different account numbers, and their names and their account balances are there. I want to create such type of customer objects like this. N number of customers are there. I want to create n number of objects like this. So for that, we have to make a plan. That plan is nothing but class. Okay. So here account number, name, balance. For any customer, common properties are there. What are those? He has account number, he has name, his account has some balance. Okay, these are the common properties. So properties can be also called as fields. Observe the terminology. Properties can be also called as fields, or can be also called as attributes, or this can be also called as member variables, or this can be also called as instance variables. You can use any term for this. Okay, once again I'm repeating, these properties can be also called as fields, or you can also call them as attributes, or you can also call them as member variables, or you can also call them as instance variables. Okay, so to perform the actions, we are writing out methods. These methods can be also called as member functions. These methods can be also called as member functions. So what a class contains properties and methods. So class is a collection of properties and methods. Okay, so simply you can say this, for all those properties and methods you can use one term, that is what, members. So class is the collection of members. Class is the collection of members where members are properties and methods. Okay, sometimes I use member term. Member means that can be property or method. So class is the collection of members, that is where members are the properties and methods. So yesterday we discussed this one. So it is a user defined data type. It is the plan to create the object. Okay, and it is the logical one. It is not physically existed, just it is a logical container. So till here we already discussed. Okay, now see about what is object. So what is object? See, listen. So object is an instance of a class. Object is an instance of a class. So here instance means the general meaning of instance is example. This is example of a class. Here class means you can understand that classification, or you can say that group. Class means classification or particular group. So an example of a group is called object, and it is physically existed. So it is a physical copy of a class. Physical copy of a class. See, to construct the home, first we are taking plan from engineer. That plan is nothing but class. Okay, that constructed home is nothing but object. So constructed home is physically existed. Plan is not logical one, that is not physically existed. Okay, see here, Taj Mahal is there. Taj Mahal, to construct this Taj Mahal, they have taken a plan. This is plan, this is not physically existed. Based on this plan, they constructed this Taj Mahal. So it is physically existed. So physically existed one is called object. Okay, physically not existed one is called class. So here object means that is an example of a group. It is an instance of a class. See here, for example, Rose. I'm taking one example. Now in today's class, I will explain number of examples. I take number of examples here because for easy understanding purpose, I take number of examples. So try to understand. So rose is a flower. Okay, is this physically existed? Yes, rose flower is physically existed. We can see that one. Okay, next, lily is a flower. This is physically existed. Lily is a flower that is physically existed. Lotus is a flower, physically existed. Jasmine is a flower, physically existed. So all these are comes under one particular category, one particular group, one particular classification. That is what? Flower. This flower is the concept. This is not physically existed. Flower is the concept. Flower is not physically existed. Flower is the concept. Okay. So whereas this rose is physically existed. Lily is physically existed. These are physically existed. So all these are physically existed. So physically existed is called object. So this rose, lily, lotus, jasmine, these are the examples of particular group flower. So like that, for example, in the cars, I'm taking Innova car. Innova car physically existed. Okay, Creta car, that is physically existed. Okay, Sandro cord physically existed. So all these are physically existed. Honda City is physically existed. Okay, all these are examples of particular group. That is what car. So here car is a group, car is a classification. Okay, so this car is the concept. Based on that concept, they created all these objects. Okay, so here object means what? That is an example of particular group, and it is physically existed one. It is a physical copy of the class. Okay, so just now I explained like this. See, we have taken bank example. So here customer 1 is the object, customer 2 is the object. I want to create this object physically. I want this data like for customer 1 account number 123, customer 2 account number 124, customer 1 name Raju, customer 2 name Sinu, customer 1 balance 1 lakh, customer 2 balance 5 lakhs. Like that, I want to hold individual customer objects physically. So all these are I want physically. So to create such type of objects, we made this plan. Based on this plan, we are creating these objects. So this is the physical copy. This object is the physical copy of this plan. This object is a physical copy of the class. Customer 1, customer 2, customer 3. All these are examples of the class customer. Student 1, student 2, student 3. Like that, n number of students are there. Okay, all those are comes under one category, student. Product 1, product 2, product 3. Like this, several products are there. All those comes under one category, product. Employee 1, employee 2, employee 3. Like this, several employees are there. All those are comes under one category, employee. Like that. So class is nothing but plan, object is nothing but example of that class, that group, example of the group. Okay, so this is about object. So object is the physical one, class is the logical one. Okay, so I hope you understood clearly about what is class and what is object. Okay, so this is about object, and the next one is encapsulation. So what is encapsulation? See here, listen carefully. Encapsulation, encapsulation, encapsulation means, see, what is the general meaning of encapsulation? The general meaning of encapsulation is no. Encapsulation means not hiding. See, the general meaning of encapsulation. I'm asking what the general meaning of encapsulation. The general meaning of encapsulation is the action of placing something in. The action of placing something in is called encapsulation. This is the general meaning. See here. I'm opening Google. Here, I'm typing the term encapsulation. I'm typing the term encapsulation. So what is the meaning of encapsulation here? The action of enclosing something in. The action of enclosing something in. So here what we are enclosing something. So we are putting something in one particular container. Okay, as if in a capsule. See, in the tablets, in the medicine, in the tablets, okay, round tablets are there and cylinder shaped tablets are there. This is cylinder shaped tablets. In the cylinder shaped tablets, mixture of chemical powder, they place in one particular wrapper, in particular plastic cover. Okay, they place in particular container, mixture of chemical powder they are placing in one particular cover. We are calling that as capsule. Like that, like that. Here in the OOPS concepts, encapsulation means we are placing the members in one particular container. That action of placing the members in one particular container is called encapsulation, and that container is called what? Class. So see this example here. Account number, name, balance, what are these? These are the properties. Withdraw, deposit, fund transfer, these are what? These are the methods. Yes, this is the actual class only, not demo class. This is the actual class only. We already entered into the syllabus. This is the actual class only. Okay, see, so here account number, name, balance, what are these? These are the properties. Withdraw, deposit, fund transfer, these are the methods. So these are properties, these are the methods. So what we are doing, we are placing the members, and these we are placing these properties and methods in one particular container. In this box we are placing properties and methods. This container I'm calling as class. So the action of placing the properties and methods in one particular container is called encapsulation. That container is called what? Class. So this is encapsulation. So you are defining class means, that is encapsulation. So the action of placing, several properties, and methods in one container. The action of placing several properties and methods in one container is called encapsulation. So why we have to put like this? So why we are placing the members in one particular container? So the main advantage here is to provide basic security for the data. To provide basic security for the data, we are placing properties and methods in the class. So this container is called what? Class. So we are placing the members in the class. So we are placing the members in the class. That action is called what? Encapsulation. So you are defining class means what? That is encapsulation. So why we are placing the members in the class? To provide basic security for the data. So whenever you are defining a class, you write like this. So class, for example, I am giving class name as customer. This is the starting point of class, ending point of class. Okay, for example, I want to define a property account number. So account number is integer. I'm taking this as integer type account number. Okay, I'm taking string here. I'm taking string type. This is string dot is the data type which is available in Java. Okay, just to try to understand. Okay, I want account balance. So double account balance. So here all these are what? These are the properties. Account number, name, balance. These are what? Properties. Okay, so for them I am using private keyword here. So here I'm using private keyword means what? That cannot be accessible outside of the class. Okay, so private, here also I'm using private keyword. So private means what? This data cannot be accessible outside of the class. So automatically basic security will be there. Okay, and to control the data, also we are using this encapsulation. Okay, to make this account number as read only, or to make this balance as read only or write only or read write. Okay, so like that, to make accessible outside of the class, generally here we define public methods. So like that, here we define what? Methods. For depositing, I'm defining a method here. For withdrawing the money, I'm defining a method here. Okay, so here what we are doing, we are defining the class. So we are defining the class means what? Here account number, name, balance, these are properties. Deposit, withdraw, these are what? Methods. We are defining properties and methods in one particular container. I'm calling that container as a class. So this action is called what? Encapsulation. You are defining class means that is encapsulation. Okay, so here with the encapsulation, basic security will be there. For the data. Okay, so this feature you can also call that as the data hiding. So data hiding is the feature with the encapsulation. So these private members are not accessible outside of the class. So automatically basic security will be there for the data. So this is about encapsulation. Okay, clear? Are you understanding? About encapsulation? Did you understand about encapsulation? Okay, I hope you understood. So encapsulation means what? Once again I'm repeating. Encapsulation means to create the object, first we have to make the plan. So we are identifying the properties and methods. We are placing those properties and methods in one particular class. This action is called encapsulation. So here advantage is it provides basic security for the data, and we have control on the data. Okay, then next one is abstraction. Abstraction. Okay, see, so generally abstraction means what? Abstraction means giving summary, okay, or you can say overview. So making the big thing into the small thing and giving to the user is called abstraction. So making the big thing into the small thing and giving to the user is called abstraction. See here, for example, listen. So abstraction means, see, abstraction means in your academics, in your college academics, engineering students, in your college academics, you do the project work. So before going to do the project work, your HOD announces that all of you please submit your project abstract. So before going to do the project work, your HOD announces to you that all of you submit your project abstract. So he is using one term here, abstract. Abstract means what? He is asking that you don't submit your complete project. Just you submit your project overview. Just submit your project summary. He is asking that abstraction. So you specify some important points. What you want to do? So what to do in your project work? Just to specify that one, submit that one. He is asking that one. So that is the meaning of abstract. Okay. So there is a general meaning of abstraction. Here in the OOPS concepts, what is abstraction? So here abstraction means hiding the listen carefully here. Try to understand the concept. Listen carefully. Abstraction means hiding the implementation details, hiding the implementation details, and providing the essential details. Hiding the implementation details and providing the essential details is called abstraction. So hiding the implementation details and providing the essential details is called abstraction. So all the functions are comes under abstraction only. All the methods are examples for abstraction only. You are defining class means, that is abstraction only. So all the examples like functions in the C language, functions are there. C language is providing some predefined functions. Those functions are examples for abstraction. Methods are examples for abstraction. Classes are examples for abstraction. So hiding the implementation details and providing the essential details. I will give one simple example. You will get much clarity about this one. Listen carefully. I want to find square root value. I want to find square root value. I want to find square root value. I don't know what is the logic of square root. I'm not from mathematical background. I don't know what is the logic. For example, assume that I want to find square root value. I'm not from mathematical background. I don't know the logic. I don't know the logic. Okay, which logic I have to write to find the square root. But in the C language, to find the square root value, that is providing one ready-made functions to one predefined function to us. That is what SQRT. This SQRT is the predefined function included in the math header file in the C language. C language is providing C library. The C library has some predefined functions. So I want to find square root value. So to find the square root value, just simply what I'm writing here, I want to find square root of 100. So I'm writing square SQRT of 100. So here we are calling SQRT function. So that executes SQRT functions code and that gives the result as 10 to us. So here, observe the point here. I don't know the logic of SQRT, but then also I'm finding the square root. I don't know what is the logic of square root, but then also I'm finding the square root here by using the prototype, by using the function prototype SQRT here. So C language developer is providing this prototype to me. Okay, finding square root is very big thing to me. Okay, I'm not from mathematical background, so finding square root is very big thing to me. That C language developer made this easier to me. and he is providing this sqrt function to me. Just directly I'm finding square root value here. So which code is there in the sqrt? Can we see this one? So they designed a function like this. They defined a function like this sqrt function. They defined this one. They defined a function like this. So in this they have written the logic or to find the square root value. Okay, and they have taken some return type here. So like this they defined a function in math header file. Okay, here some code is there, maybe 10 lines code is there, or 15 lines code is there, 20 lines code is there, we don't know. So that is, this is hiding the implementation details. So for the sqrt they have written some code, we don't know that code. Okay, so that is what hiding the implementation details. He is hiding all the code of the square root, but he is providing one essential thing to us. What is that? This function prototype. So hiding the implementation details and providing the function prototype here, and providing the, this is essential detail. Hiding the implementation details and providing the essential details is nothing but abstraction. So the main aim of abstraction is making a big thing into the small thing, making big thing into the small thing. Yes, for Java also, for any object oriented programming language, example is same. Okay, for Java also. Okay, but here they defined this sqrt function in math class. Okay, there I will explain just to try to understand the concept. Okay, so making big thing into small thing, and giving to the user, this is the aim. And giving to the user, this is the aim of abstraction. So making big thing into the small thing and giving to the user is the aim of abstraction. So writing square root logic is very big thing to me. So what they have given, they written the logic and they are providing that function prototype me. Okay, so they made my work easier, I'm using that one. So similarly I want to find power value. So to find power value, they are providing one function prototype to us. Just simply I'm writing what? POW of 2 comma 3. 2 is the number, 3 is the power. That is giving result as 2 cube value. What is the 2 cube value? 8. That is giving result as 8. I don't know what is the logic to find the power. Okay, but then also I'm finding here by using the prototype POW. So hence making the big thing into the small thing and giving to the user to consume the functionalities is called what? That is the aim of the abstraction. So hiding the implementation details and providing the essential details is called abstraction. So I will give some simple examples here to get more clarity. Listen carefully here. Okay, for example, to attend this online class, you are using laptop or computer. You are using laptop or computer. So to attend this online class, you are using laptop or computer. For example, you are using laptop. Okay, in the laptop, to use this laptop, is it compulsory to know the mechanism of entire laptop? Is it compulsory to know the mechanism of entire laptop? No, it is not compulsory to know the entire mechanism of the laptop. See, in the laptop, internally several hardware components are there. Internally, motherboard is there. In the laptop, motherboard is there. In the laptop, processor is there. In the laptop, hard disk is there. In the laptop, RAM is there. All these are not essential thing to us. So that's why they are covered by some plastic coat. Then what is the essential thing to us to operate the laptop? Keyboard is the essential thing. Keyboard is the essential thing. Mouse is the essential thing. So he is providing keyboard outside. So for the mouse in the laptop, we are using trackpad. That is outside. So with the help of keyboard and mouse, we are operating a laptop. So here keyboard, mouse are the essential things. Okay, so processor, motherboard, RAM, hard disk, these are not essential things to use the laptop to us externally. Okay, so that's why they are in hidden form. So even if you don't have the knowledge of the motherboard, hard disk, then also you can use by using the keyboard and mouse. So manufacturing laptop is very big thing to us. So he manufactured it, and that manufacturer is providing keyboard and trackpad to us to operate this laptop. So he made big thing into the small thing and he is giving to us for using that product. Okay, I will give one another example here. I will give another example. See, for example, to drive the car, what are required? Okay, steering, gear, clutch, brake, accelerator. Accelerator. These are important. Okay, once again I'm repeating. To drive the car, what are required? Steering. See, lap. So here, to drive the car, the essential things are what? The essential things are what? Steering is required and gear is required, clutch, brake, accelerator are required. These are the essential things. These are the essential things. Okay, then these are the essential things. Uh, Internally, several parts are there in the car, like engine. Okay, we have no need to know the mechanism of the car to use the car. Just simply we have to know how to handle the steering, how to change the gears, and how to use clutch, brake, and accelerator. If you know these things, you can drive the car. Okay, you have no need to know the mechanism of the car, so you have no need to know how the engine is designed, what are the internal parts are in the engine, so internally what is there, internally which electric components are there, which mechanical components are there. This knowledge is not required. So just essential things he has given outside. Complex complex components he is given it, he has given internally. Okay, so he may car is very big thing, he made it easier and he is giving to the user. So uh, so here the point to understand is, eh, abstraction means we are making we are making the task user friendly. We are making the task user friendly. Okay, so we are making big thing into the small thing and we are giving to the user. Similarly, to use the tv we have no need to know the mechanism of the tv, just we have to know how to operate the remote control. To use the AC, we have no need to know the mechanism of the AC. Just we have to know how to operate the remote control. So essential things they are giving to us. Okay, non-essential things they are in hidden form. Okay, they are hidden internally. So like that, here also in the programs we are defining the classes. Okay, we are defining the classes. Okay, so see, just now someone asked, is this laptop is abstraction? For understanding purpose I'm taking laptop here. For the abstraction examples are what? Functions, methods, classes. In the functions we are writing large amounts of code, complex code is there. Okay, for the sqrt they have written some code here, maybe complex code they have written. Okay, that is in hidden form. Just like in the laptop, motherboard, hard disk, ram, these are in hidden form. Like that in the sqrt also they have written some code that is in hidden form, just we are using that one. Okay, so for the sqrt some code is there that is in hidden form, complex code is hidden. Essential thing is what? This function prototype is essential that they are providing. Okay, so here see, here for example we are defining a class here. Here we are defining a class. In that class we are defining some methods. This is method 1, this is method 1, then this is method 2, then this is method 3. Like that several methods I'm defining in a class. Okay, in the classes several methods are there. In the methods I'm writing some code. Now to consume this class, just what we are doing, we are creating object. To consume this class, what we are doing, we are creating the object. With the help of object, what we are doing, we are accessing. Okay, so if assume that this is C++ code, assume that this is C++ code. So here I'm creating the object A1. In the M1, for example, here, for example, 50,000 lines of code is there. I don't know which code they have written, but then also I can use that M1 method. Then also I can use that M1 method by calling that one a1.m1. So here you are defining class means what? Internally abstraction feature is there. You are defining class means what? Internally encapsulation feature is there. Combination of encapsulation and abstraction is nothing but you are defining the class. So you are defining class means their encapsulation is there as well as abstraction is there. So this code is in hidden form. Just user is using this method by creating the object. So this is complex code. So we are making, this is the big thing to user. We are making this big thing into the small thing, and we are giving this prototype. So he is using that one. Okay. So the main aim of the abstraction is making the tasks user friendly. I will give one more example, last example, to get much clarity. Listen carefully here. All of you already know how to use the ATM machine. So in the ATM machine, you are inserting your ATM card. After that, you are inserting your PIN number. After, if you enter valid PIN number, then that is displaying one menu to us. That menu has some options. That menu has, see, listen carefully here. Listen carefully. For example, this is ATM center screen. This is ATM center screen. After entering your PIN number, that is displaying one menu. That is displaying one menu. That menu is what? Like withdraw. Do you want to withdraw, or do you want to deposit? Okay, or do you want to transfer the money from one account to another? Do you want to check the balance? So like this menu is there. Okay, do you want mini statement? Okay, so like this menu is there. Okay, now we don't know which code they have written for withdrawing the money. Just we know when we click on withdraw option, it gives the money. So when we click on withdraw option that asks the amount, we enters the amount, and that machine gives the amount. That machine gives the money. So just we know what to do, but we don't know what are the implementation details. So for the withdraw, they have written complex code. That complex code is in hidden form. Just we know how to use. Just we are clicking on withdraw, that is asking the amount, and that machine is giving money to us. Okay, so like that here, this they made our task easier. So finally, customer wants what? Customer wants to withdraw the money. So for that, they have written complex code. Okay, and they are providing essential detail to us. Just simply click on withdraw button, then after that enter the amount, that asks the amount, enter the amount, that machine gives the money. Okay, so this is nothing but what? This is nothing but abstraction. So you are defining class means, to consume the class we must create the object, because class is the only plan. You are creating this class to create the object only. So with the help of object only, we can use the methods of the members of the class. Okay, so you are defining class means internally encapsulation feature is there, as well as abstraction feature is there. So once again I'm repeating, encapsulation means the action of placing several properties and methods in one particular class. So here I'm defining a class. In this, account number, name, balance, these are the properties. Deposit, withdraw, these are the methods. These properties, methods, we are defining in a class. So this is what? This is encapsulation. So here you are placing these members in class means this is providing basic security for the data. Okay, so abstraction means hiding the implementation details. Here large amounts of code is there, that will be in hidden form, but providing the essential details, that is nothing but abstraction. So you are defining the functions will be in hidden mode, just that provides prototype to us. You are defining methods in the classes. So you are defining class means in the class methods are there. Okay, in the methods you are writing some code. Okay, that will be in hidden form. Just that is providing prototype to use that one. Just create the object, then call the method, if that is non-static method. Okay, so here the main aim of abstraction is making the task user friendly. Withdrawing the money is a very big task. Okay, they made this as user friendly and they are giving to us. So how can we control the data in encapsulation? So to control the data in encapsulation, see, so here private data is there. See, this private data cannot be accessed outside of the class. If you want to access this private data outside of the class, for example, I want to change the account balance. For example, okay, I want to change the account balance. So to change the account balance, what we write? Balance equals to new balance. Balance equals to new balance. Okay, forget about that method name, everything. Just here I'm taking a variable b here. Okay, so to change the account balance, he is giving the value. That value will be captured here. That value will be captured here. Okay, so that value will be assigned to the this balance property. Actually, this balance is the private property that is not accessible outside. But if you want to use that one, if you want to modify the balance, okay, so as the customer, we have no need to modify the balance. But bank employee, if I deposit the money, he has to change the balance. If I withdraw the money, he has to change the balance. So he has to edit the data. Okay, so to make these members outside of the class, I'm defining the method as public here. Okay, now with the help of methods, we can control the data. With the help of methods, we can control the data. How? You asked how can we control the data? With the help of methods, we can control the data. We can make the member as read only. We can make the member as write only. Okay, read only means, for example, balance. Customer has no need to change the balance. Customer will not modify the balance. So customer can read the balance. So that is read only. But bank employee can read, can modify. So read write. So like that, you can make read write, you can make read only. So that is controlling over the data. That is possible by defining this encapsulation only, by defining this class only. Again, all these concepts I will explain whenever I explain the chapter classes, objects and methods. Just for understanding purpose, listen. Again, I will explain about all classes, objects, how can we create the methods. In the methods, how many types are there? Again, I will explain just to try to understand. Encapsulation means we are placing properties and methods in one particular class. Okay, so with that advantage is security will be there and we have control over the data. Abstraction means hiding the implementation details and that provides essential details to consume the functionalities. To consume the functionalities. Consume means use. To use the functionalities, that is providing essential details only. So consume the functionalities. Okay, so I have taken number of examples. So the main aim of abstraction is what? Making the task user friendly. So to make the task user friendly, they are hiding the complex one and they are giving essential one to us. That is nothing but abstraction. Your defining function means internally abstraction is there. Okay, you are defining classes, methods means internally abstraction is there. So defining class is nothing but encapsulation and abstraction. You are defining class means encapsulation feature is there and abstraction feature is there. Okay, I hope all of you understood clearly about what is encapsulation and abstraction. Even if you didn't understand, no problem at all. Don't bother about it. Again, I will explain when I teach classes, objects and methods chapter. Okay, now see, the next feature is, next object oriented concept is inheritance. Next object oriented concept is inheritance. So what is the general meaning of inheritance? Inheritance means having the properties of older ones. Having the properties of older ones. So you can say heritage, inheritance, heritage, related ones. So having the properties of older ones. Now here in the OOPS concepts, yes, in the OOPS concepts, inheritance means, in the OOPS concepts, inheritance means, listen carefully here. So for example, I want to define a class. I want to define a class. The class name is teacher. I want to define a class. That class name is teacher. Listen carefully here. I want to define a class. The class name is teacher. Okay, I want the properties teacher ID. Teacher ID. So what is teacher name? Okay, and what is the contact number? What is the, his city name? So there is property. So ID, name, city, these are the properties. Okay, so to read this id value, the id value, I want to define a method, get id method. Just try to understand here. Listen carefully. Teacher properties, or teacher has id, teacher name, teacher city, I want to create teacher objects like T1, T2, T3, teacher 1, teacher 2, teacher 3, like that. I want to create teacher objects. So for that, I'm making the plan here. I identified some properties. Every teacher has one identification number, ID, and name, city. Those are the properties. I want to read the ID value. So I'm writing get ID. I want to read the name value. I'm defining method get name. I want to read city value. So I'm defining the method get city. So like that, I want to print the name. So to print the name, I'm defining method put name, sorry, put ID, put ID. Then to print the name, put name. To print the city value, put city. So here, how many properties are there? Class name is teacher. How many properties are there? 3 properties are there. How many methods are there? 6 methods are there. Okay. So how many methods are there? 6 methods are there. How many properties are there? 3 properties are there. So this class is already defined. After 1 month, this class is already defined. Class teacher is already existed. Assume that after 1 month, I want to define one more class. I want to define one more class. After 1 month, I want to define one more class. That class name is student. That class name is student. So here I want student ID. I want student ID, student name, student city, student section, and student marks. Okay. So how many properties? 5 properties. I want student ID, student name, student city, section, and marks. Okay. So to read ID value, to read name value, to read city value, I want to define these 3 methods. I want to define get ID method, get name method, get city method, and also I want to read section value. So for that, I want to define get section method. I want to read marks value. So I'm defining get marks method. Okay. So similarly, I want to print the values. So to print ID, name, city, I'm defining put ID, put name, put city. See. So also I want to print section. So to print section, I'm defining put section. To print the marks, I'm writing put marks, put marks. So here, these are what? These are the methods. Okay. So here in the class student, how many properties are there? 5 properties. How many methods are there? Okay, 5 get methods, 5 put methods, total 10 methods are there. So 10 methods are there and 5 properties are there in the class student. In the class teacher, 3 properties are there and 6 methods are there. Okay, so this class, assume that this class teacher is already defined. After 1 month, I want to define another class student. So if you observe these two classes, almost all the members in the class teacher are also we are defining the class student. Almost all the members in the class teacher, we are also defining the class student. Observe here, ID name city, those members are in the class teacher. And those members also we are defining the class student. Get ID, get name, get city, these members are already defined in the class teacher. Again, we are defining the class student. So put ID, put name, put city, these methods are already defined in the class teacher. Again, we are defining in the class student. So almost all same code which is in the class teacher, again we are redefining in the class student. So automatically what will happen? Code length will be increased. Code length will be increased. So again you are defining all those methods and all those properties here. In this example, this has 3 properties. Okay, tomorrow this class may have 50 properties. All those 50 properties, if I define here again, that will take a lot of time. So it increases development time and it increases length of code. That is a drawback here. So to avoid this drawback, they introduced a concept that is what? Inheritance. With the help of inheritance, see, this class teacher is already defined. Okay. Now we want to define what? Today we want to define this class teacher. So now we have no need to define this ID, name, city again. Just simply define section and marks. Define this section and marks and establish relationship between this class and this class. Sorry. Okay. Just a minute. So establish relationship between this class student and class teacher. This relationship is called parent child relationship. Here teacher is called parent class, student will become the child class. This relationship is called parent child relationship. So if you establish relationship, what is the advantage here? Here again we are not defining id name city. So we are reusing this id name city. We can reuse this id name city here. So the reusability of the members is the main advantage with the inheritance. Similarly, here we have no need to define this get id method, this get id method, get name method, get city method here, because those are already available in the class teacher. Those I can use here. Okay, so similarly, put id, put name, put city, these methods again we have no need to define. Those are already defined in the class teacher. I can use them because I established a relationship between these two classes. So I can use this id name city in the class student. I can use these 6 methods: get id, get name, get city, put id, put name, put city, all these 6 methods in the class student. Now here class teacher has the 3 properties. This class student has, class teacher has how many properties? 3 properties. Whereas this class student has how many properties now? 5 properties. Other 3 are derived from the parent class. So we are reusing those members here. Okay. Now uh, this class teacher has how many methods? Class teacher has how many methods? 6 methods. Class teacher has how many methods? 6 methods. Whereas this class student has how many methods now? Its own 4 methods. Its parents 6 methods. Total it has how many methods? 10 methods. So automatically we are reusing these members here. Again we are not defining these members here. So automatically code length will be decreased, and automatically it decreases the length of development time. So here what is inheritance? So inheritance means acquiring. Acquiring means getting. acquiring the properties Acquiring the properties and functionalities. Acquiring the properties of an existing class. Acquiring the properties and functionalities of an existing class is called what? Inheritance. So here class teacher properties or id name city, these are acquired by the class student. Class student is acquiring these 3 properties. So class student has actually 2 properties, but effectively it has 5 properties. Other 3 are derived from its parent. So it is getting these properties of parent. It is getting the properties of parent. Okay, so it is acquiring the properties. Okay, see, this class teacher is already existed what? This class teacher is already existed one. So from that, we are using this one. Okay, see, so acquiring the properties and functionalities of an existing class is called what? Inheritance. So here this class student is getting this teacher class properties, and this class student is getting these teacher class functionalities, means methods. Okay, so this student class is getting properties of teacher and methods of the teacher. So it is acquiring properties and functionalities of this existing class teacher, that is called inheritance. See here. So here just now I explained about this one. Class teacher has these properties: id name city, these are the methods. So class student has these properties, these methods. If you define like this, code length will be increased, number of properties will be increased, and also code length will be increased. So automatically it takes a lot of time for development. I want to reduce the development time, so I want to reuse these members. So to reuse these members, I'm establishing relationship between this class teacher and class student. Okay, the relationship is called parent child relationship. Okay, so now this student class object can access this id name city as well as section modes. Okay, and the student class object can access all these 6 methods and as well as its own methods. Okay, so indirectly this student class has 5 properties and 10 methods. So it is acquiring the properties and functionalities of this class teacher. So this existing class is called base class. Okay, and this new class is called derived class. So this base class can be also called as parent class. This base class can be also called as parent. Yes, variable name will be same. You can use the same id name here. Variable name will be same. Okay, so this base class can be also called as parent class, or you can also call this as super class. This derived class can be also called as child class, or you can call this as subclass. So generally when we call this as base class, this as the derived class. When we call this existing class as the parent class, this new class as the child class. When we call this existing class as the super class, this new class as the subclass. So base class can be also called as parent class or super class. Child class can be also called as derived class or subclass. So this is about inheritance. So what is the advantage, sir? Just now we have seen the advantages. So you can guess what are the advantages here. So the main advantage with the inheritance is reusability of members. Reusability of members. So we can reuse the members of existing class. Okay, so this class teacher members we can reuse in the class student. So that is reusability of members. And another advantage here is extendability. Extendability of a class. Extendability of a class is another advantage. So we can extend the class easily. So without disturbing the existing class, by defining the new class and establishing relationship between them, we can extend the class. I will give one example for this. For example, here one class is there. That class name is customer. I'm taking class name as customer. This class has some properties. One bank is maintaining like this. This bank established in 1990s. In the 1990s, they were maintaining like this. They are maintaining like account number, name, and account balance, etc. So these properties are there in the class customer. So after that, later, so this class is customer already developed. Already software company developed the software and they have given that software to the bank. Now bank is using that software. Okay. So bank is using the software. Okay. After some days or after some years, bank wants to add 2 more properties. For example, assume that this bank established in 1990s. In the 1990s, they were using this software. Now later in the 2000s, they want to add 2 more properties, Aadhaar card number. This Aadhaar card was not there in the 1990s. Okay, this is introduced in the 2000s. So now bank wants to add Aadhaar card number and bank wants to add PAN card number. Bank wants to add PAN card number. Okay, so this class customer is already created. That has already some properties are there. But bank wants to add 2 more properties to the customer class. So to the customer class, they want to add 2 more properties. So without disturbing this class, without disturbing this existing class customer, they define a new class here. They define a new class here. I am giving this new class name as new customer. You can give any name. I'm giving name as class new customer. So in that, I am defining these 2 members, Aadhaar card, and I'm defining these 2 members, Aadhaar card number and PAN card number, and establish relationship between these 2 classes. Now establish relationship between this class and this new customer class and customer class. Now new customer has how many properties? 5 properties. So automatically what we are doing, we are extending the class only. So to the existing class, if you want to add some more functionalities, if you want to add some more properties without disturbing the existing class, we are defining a new class and we are establishing relationship between those 2 classes. That relationship is called parent-child relationship. This existing clause is called parent clause. This new clause is called child clause. Now this child clause has the properties of parent clause, and child clause has the functionalities of parent clause. Acquiring the properties and functionalities of parent clause is called what? Inheritance. So here reusability is there, as well as another feature is extendability is there, and automatically it reduces the development time. It reduces development time. So how it reduces development time? Because again we are not defining this id name city properties in the class student. Again we are not defining all these 6 methods here. Now in this example here, 3 properties are there. Okay, for example, if this class has 50 properties and 100 methods, all those 50 properties we are not redefining in the new class. All those 100 methods we are not defining in the new class. So automatically what will happen? It reduces the development time. So again we are not defining here, just we are establishing the relationship between the classes and we can use them. So automatically so much development time will be saved. This is an excellent feature of the OOPS concepts, that is inheritance concept. Okay, so I hope you understood about inheritance. So this is about inheritance. So and next topic is next OOPS concept is polymorphism. So polymorphism means, so this polymorphism is the derived word in the English language, or some English language words are there and some derived words are there. Some words are derived from Latin language, some words are derived from the Greek, like that. This polymorphism is the derived word. It is derived from 2 Greek words. Those 2 Greek words are, first one is poly, and second one is morphos. So poly is one Greek word, morphos is another Greek word. So the general meaning of poly means many. So morphos means forms. Poly means many, morphos means forms. So polymorphism means the general meaning is many forms. So polymorphism means the general meaning is many forms. So what is polymorphism? Polymorphism means the ability to exist in many forms. The ability to exist in many forms. The ability to exist in many forms is called polymorphism. If same thing is existed in many forms, that is called polymorphism. Okay, so what are the examples of the polymorphism? Like overloading is there. Overloading is example for polymorphism. Overriding is there. I will explain later what is overloading, what is overriding in the object oriented concepts class. In the when we create the classes, when we create the objects, when we create the methods in that chapter, again I will explain clearly. Don't bother about it. Just try to hear the understand the terms. Hear the terms. Overloading, overriding, dynamic binding. These are what? These are the examples of polymorphism. So if same thing is existed in many forms, we are calling that as polymorphism. For example, see here, plus. This plus symbol, plus is what? Plus is the operator. Plus is the operator. I'm writing 10 plus 20. Now what is the answer of this one? 30 is the answer. Okay, so here plus is the operator I'm using for addition. So in Java language, you can use plus. For example, I'm here. Once again, I'm repeating. See, listen. Plus is the operator. Plus is the operator. 10, 20 are the integer values. Okay, for these numbers, I'm using plus. For the numbers, if you use plus operator, that will give addition value. For example, I'm giving first value as a string. I am giving string as Raj. Okay, after that, I'm using operator plus. I'm giving second string as Kumar. So here first string is Raj, second string is Kumar. So here plus operator works as the concatenation. Yes, the plus operator works as the concatenation. So it gives output as Raj Kumar here. So here this same operator plus, here that is performing addition for the numbers, here that is performing concatenation for the strings. So same plus operator is existed in many forms, more than one form. So if same operator is existed in many forms, that is called operator overloading. If same operator is existed in many forms, that is called operator overloading. This is operator overloading. Okay, so like that. See, for example, gold is there. Gold is there. Okay, with the help of gold, you can make chain. So with the help of gold, so you can make ring. With the help of gold, you can make bracelet. You can make bracelet. Okay, you can make earrings. So like that. So with the help of gold, you can make many ornaments like chain, ring, bracelet, earrings, bangles, etc. Now gold, same gold thing is existed in many forms. Same gold is existed as chain. Same gold is existed as finger ring. Same gold is existed as earring. Same gold is existed as bracelet. Okay, like that. So same gold is existed in many forms. Like that, the same operator is existed in many forms. If same operator is existed in many forms, that is called operator overloading. So this is about polymorphism. So polymorphism means what? The ability to exist in many forms. So if same thing is existed in many forms, that is called polymorphism. If operator is existed in many forms, that is operator overloading. If the method is existed in many forms, that is called method overloading. For example, I want to add numbers. Okay, so I want to perform addition. I want to add two numbers. So to add two numbers, I'm defining a method here. To add two integer values, I'm defining a method. To add three integer values, I'm defining a method here. To add three integer values, I'm defining a method here. Int x, int y, int z, like this. Okay, uh, I want to add two characters, means concatenation. So I want to add two characters, char x, char y, like this. Okay, I want to combine two characters. So here same add method, I'm adding two values, I'm adding three values, I'm combining two characters. Like the same add method is existed in many forms. So now this is called what? Method overloading. Again, I will explain in the polymorphism chapter. Again, I will clearly explain about what is method overloading and what is operator overloading. Does Java support to operator overloading or not? Okay, all these things, all again I will explain clearly. Just this is about OOPS concepts. So encapsulation means we are placing the members in one particular container. Abstraction means that hides the implementation details and provides the essential details to use them. Inheritance means acquiring the properties and functionalities of existing class. Advantage is reusability, extendability, and it reduces the development time. Polymorphism means same thing will be existed in many forms. So this is about OOPS concepts. Okay, so today I stop here. So tomorrow is Sunday. Sunday is a holiday. Sunday is a holiday. That I will explain. So somebody is asking, can a parent class, can a parent class can have many child classes? That I will explain later. Later in the types of inheritance, I will discuss. I will explain everything clearly. Just if you have any doubts related to this OOPS concepts, please ask me. Yes. Do you have any doubts? Polymorphism again in the next class. Again, I will continue with the polymorphism. No problem. On Monday, again, I will continue with the polymorphism. Okay. Uh, yes. Okay. See, if you don't understand about this OOPS concepts, no problem at all. If you don't understand today's class, no problem at all. Just for an idea purpose, I introduced all these terms to you. Okay, so frequently if you are referring these topics, you will become expert. If you are listening these terms for first time, okay, it may look hard to you. You refer these topics frequently, it will become easier to you. In the learning process, frequently revision technique is very very important. So frequently you have to revise the topic, frequently you have to refer the topics. Yes, yes, this is the first chapter only. We are in language fundamentals. We are in language fundamentals. Okay, this is the first chapter only. Okay. So shall I stop the session? If you don't have any doubts, you can leave. Object based. Yes. Could you please repeat the question, Krishna Prasad? I didn't get here.
Hello, hello, sir. I'm Krishna.
Yes.
Hello,
Yes.
sir. Object based contains that for encapsulation abstraction.
Yes.
That
Yes.
for
Yes.
object based. Object oriented that contains first two only. Object oriented.
Yes, object based contains only encapsulation and abstraction. See, in the C language structures, you are placing the members in the structure. That is what encapsulation. I already told that enclosing something in one particular container. In the C language structures, you are placing the members in one particular container. That container you are calling structure. So C language has encapsulation, and it is providing ready-made methods to us. That is what abstraction. And we are defining our own functions. Okay, those will become user friendly to our user, to our client. We are the clients to the C language developers. So C language developers are providing functions to us, so we are using them easily. With the help of those predefined functions, we are developing the software easily. So like that, for us companies want software. So companies are clients to us. We are the software developers, we are the programmers. Companies are clients to us. To make companies work easier, to make our clients work easier, we are developing the software. Okay, so that is abstraction. So encapsulation abstraction is there in the C language, but that does not support to the inheritance, and that does not support to the polymorphism. You cannot define same function for many times in the C language, so polymorphism is not there. Okay, is it okay?
Okay, sir. Okay,
Sir,
sir.
the question I have is that I'm joining this class today first time. So how many classes
Okay.
has completed till
Yeah,
now? Whether I'll be
yeah.
able to understand forward.
Okay, so this is the fourth class. So till now 4 classes are over. So maybe these previous 3 classes are also available on YouTube. You can subscribe that to Durgasoft channel, and you can refer those videos. Or otherwise, you can also contact to the Durgasoft office also for video accessing. Okay, okay. So in
Thank you,
the
sir.
Sir,
uh,
all videos are uploaded in YouTube, sir. This all
no, no,
videos.
no, no. Just these demo classes will be uploaded. Yeah, just only demo classes will be uploaded. Maybe they uploaded or don't uploaded, I don't know. Please just check. They uploads only demo classes, not all videos, not all videos.
But sir, did you cover any important topic in this first 3 classes, or did I miss anything important, or which I should
No, no, no,
really
everything
refer?
basic I covered. Everything basic I covered, no problem at all. You can continue, no problem at all.
Already you will definitely cover that topic whenever the chapter will come, right? That is specific
So
chapter will come.
just I covered what the platform independency means, machine independency means. So what these things I covered in the previous classes: platform independency, machine independency, some general concepts, different programming approaches. These concepts I discussed in the previous class. So this machine independency, platform independency, again I will explain in the features of Java. So no problem at all. You can continue this course.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. It was a very
Okay,
nice
okay,
class.
okay, okay. Thank you. Okay, shall I stop the session?
No question
Shall
from
I
my
stop
side,
the
sir.
session?
Thank you. Have a
Okay,
great
thank
weekend. Bye bye.
you. Okay, okay. Okay, I'm stopping the session. Okay, tomorrow Sunday is a holiday. See you on Monday.